It's time to leave laziness behind. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Chill English Talks podcast. Today, we're tackling a topic that probably hits a little too close to home for many of us. You know that feeling, right? That lead weight in your stomach, the one that tells you to stay on the couch, scroll just a little longer, or put off that task you know you need to do? Yeah, we're talking about laziness. It's more than just being ideal, it's that subtle resistance that keeps us from our goals, our potential, and sometimes, even our own happiness. We've all been there, stuck in a rut, watching opportunities pass by, all because the inertia feels too heavy to break through. But here's the thing, while laziness is common, it doesn't have to be your default setting. In fact, understanding it is the first step to overcoming it. Today, we're not just going to complain about it. We're going to dissect it, understand its sneaky origins, and most importantly, equip you with the practical tools and the mindset shift you need to leave laziness behind for good. So, if you're ready to reclaim your drive, ignite your purpose, and finally start taking action on the things that truly matter, stick with us. Because it's time to stop wishing and start doing. Let's dive in. 1. Understanding the roots of laziness. Now, let's peel back the layers and truly understand why we get lazy. Because often, what looks like simple inertia on the surface is actually a symptom of something deeper. It's rarely about a moral failing, it's usually about a psychological or even physiological barrier. So, let's explore some of the less obvious, but incredibly common, reasons behind our inertia. 1. The shadow of fear, our unseen opponent. This is a big one, and it often masquerades as procrastination. We might tell ourselves we're just not motivated, but underneath, there's a quiet dread. Fear of failure, this is classic. If you don't try, you can't fail, right? We might avoid starting a new project, studying for an exam, or even applying for a dream job because the idea of not succeeding is too painful. This fear can paralyze us, keeping us in a safe, albeit stagnant, comfort zone. Fear of success, believe it or not, success can be just as intimidating. What if you achieve your goal? Will expectations increase? Will you have more responsibilities? Will your life change in ways you're not ready for? This subconscious fear can lead to self-sabotage, manifesting as a sudden lack of motivation. Fear of judgment, this is especially prevalent in our hyper-connected world. What will people think if your idea isn't perfect, or if your effort falls short? The fear of being criticized or laughed at can prevent us from putting ourselves out there and taking necessary risks. 2. The overwhelm trap, when tasks feel too big. Think about standing at the base of a massive mountain. If you only see the summit, it feels impossible. Our brains react similarly to overwhelming tasks or ill-defined goals. Lack of clarity, if you don't know exactly what you need to do, where to start, or what the end goal looks like, your brain gets stuck. It's like being given a map with no "you are here" and no destination marked. This vagueness breeds inertia. Analysis paralysis, this happens when you have too many options or too much information. You spend so long trying to find the perfect solution or the best way to start that you never actually begin. The sheer volume of decisions becomes a barrier. Unrealistic expectations. Sometimes, we set the bar so high that the gap between where we are and where we want to be seems insurmountable. This leads to a feeling of hopelessness before we even begin, making inaction the easier choice. 3. The perfectionism paradox. A desire for excellence that hides as laziness. This might sound counterintuitive, but often, the most ambitious among us can fall prey to what looks like laziness, but is actually extreme perfectionism. If it's not perfect, why bother? This mindset means you'd rather do nothing than produce something that isn't absolutely flawless. The internal pressure to achieve an unattainable standard leads to chronic procrastination and a refusal to even begin. Fear of imperfection, similar to the fear of failure, but specifically tied to the quality of the output. We hold ourselves back because we dread the thought of our work being anything less than exceptional. The reality is, progress often requires imperfect starts. 4. The why gap, lack of purpose or motivation. This is perhaps the most fundamental root. If you don't genuinely care about what you're doing, or if you don't see how it connects to a larger purpose, finding the energy to act is incredibly difficult. Disconnection from values. When tasks feel like chores and aren't aligned with your core values, interests, or long-term aspirations, motivation evaporates. You're simply going through the motions without genuine buy-in. Lack of immediate gratification. Many important tasks, like saving money, exercising, or building a skill, have delayed rewards. Our brains, wired for instant gratification, struggle with this. If the payoff isn't immediate, the motivation to start can be low. 5. Energy depletion, more than just feeling tired. Laziness can often be a cry from your body and mind for help. Physical exhaustion. Are you getting enough quality sleep? Is your nutrition providing sustained energy, or are you on a sugar roller coaster? Chronic fatigue, often ignored, can manifest as a deep reluctance to engage in any effort. Mental fatigue. Our brains get tired too. Constant decision-making, information overload, stress, and anxiety can drain our cognitive reserves, making even simple tasks feel overwhelming. This decision fatigue often leads to default inaction. Burnout. If you've been pushing yourself too hard for too long without adequate rest and recovery, your body and mind might simply shut down as a protective mechanism. This isn't laziness, it's a signal that you need a break. 6. The echoes of the past, negative self-talk and past failures. Our history and internal dialogue play a huge role. Learned helplessness. If you've tried and failed multiple times in the past, your brain might have learned that effort is futile. Why bother? I'll just mess it up again, becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Negative self-identity. If you've internalized the belief that you are a lazy person or a procrastinator, it becomes incredibly hard to act against that identity. We often live up to the labels we give ourselves. 7. The absence of structure, lack of discipline and habits. Sometimes, it's not a deep psychological issue, but simply the lack of foundational systems. No established routine. If your days lack structure or a consistent rhythm, it's easy to drift. Habits automate behavior, reducing the reliance on fickle willpower. Lack of discipline. While sometimes discipline feels like a dirty word, it's simply the ability to do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. Without it, you're constantly fighting internal resistance. So, as we've discussed these different routes, I want you, the listener, to take a moment and reflect. Which of these resonate most strongly with you? Be honest. Is it a fear holding you back? Are you feeling overwhelmed? Is your energy truly depleted? Identifying the root cause is the crucial first step. Because once you understand why you're feeling lazy, you can start to address the underlying issue, rather than just fighting the symptom. When we come back, we're going to shift gears from understanding to action. I'll share some incredibly practical strategies you can start using today to reignite your drive and begin leaving laziness firmly in the past. 2. Practical strategies to reignite your drive. We dug deep into the why behind laziness, uncovering everything from fear and overwhelm to energy depletion and a lack of purpose. Now that we understand what's holding us back, it's time to talk about the how. How do we move from understanding to taking action? How do we actually reignite that spark and get things done? Let's dive in. 1. Small steps, big wins. the power of incremental progress. This is perhaps the most crucial strategy, especially when facing overwhelm. The key is to make starting so ridiculously easy that you can't say no. Breaking down tasks, the salami slicing method. Imagine trying to eat a whole salami in one bite, impossible. But slice it up, and it's manageable. Take your daunting task and break it into the absolute smallest, most digestible steps. Example: instead of clean the entire house, break it into clear off one kitchen counter, sort one pile of mail, load the dishwasher. For a project, instead of write the report, try open the document, write the title, outline the first section, write the first paragraph. The goal is to get your foot in the door, to create just enough momentum to keep going. The 5-minute rule, this is a game changer. Tell yourself you only have to work on the dreaded task for 5 minutes. That's it. Set a timer. Often, what happens is that once you start, those 5 minutes turn into 10, then 20, then you're immersed. The hardest part is almost always starting. If after 5 minutes you still genuinely want to stop, then you can. But more often than not, you'll find yourself wanting to continue. Habit stacking, this technique, popularized by James Clear in Atomic Habits, involves linking a new desired habit to an existing one. Formula: after, current habit, I will, new habit. Examples: after I brush my teeth, I will write one sentence for my novel. After I pour my morning coffee, I will review my top 3 tasks for the day. This leverages the existing momentum of an established routine, making it easier to integrate new, productive behaviors. 2. The power of clarity and purpose, knowing your why. When we don't know why we're doing something, motivation quickly dwindles. Connect your actions to something meaningful. Define your why. Before you start a task, take a moment to connect it to your larger goals, values, or the positive outcome it will create. Example: instead of I have to respond to emails, think, responding to these emails means I'm maintaining strong client relationships, which builds my business and secures my financial future. Or, finishing this workout means I'm prioritizing my health, which will give me more energy to play with my kids. This shift in perspective transforms a mundane task into a purposeful action. Visualize success. Spend a few minutes mentally rehearsing the completion of the task and the positive feelings that come with it. See yourself successfully achieving your goal, feeling proud, relieved, or energized. This primes your brain for action and reinforces the reward. SMART goals revisited. We've all heard of SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound, but do you actually use them? If your goals are vague, I want to be more productive, your brain has no clear target. Specific, what exactly do you want to achieve? Measurable, how will you know when you've achieved it? Achievable, is it realistic given your resources? Relevant, does it align with your broader values and long-term objectives? Time-bound, when will you achieve this by? Clearly defined goals provide a roadmap and make the journey feel less daunting. 3. Managing your energy and environment, setting yourself up for success. You can't pour from an empty cup, and a chaotic environment breeds a chaotic mind. Prioritize sleep and nutrition, these are your fundamental building blocks. Lack of quality sleep profoundly impacts your energy, focus, and willpower. Similarly, a diet high in processed foods and sugar will lead to energy crashes. Think of your body as a high-performance vehicle. It needs premium fuel and regular maintenance. Actionable, aim for 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep. Hydrate consistently. Focus on whole, unprocessed foods. Declutter your space and mind. Your external environment often reflects your internal state. A messy desk can lead to a cluttered mind, making it harder to focus and start tasks. Actionable: take 10 minutes to clear your workspace. Organize your digital files. Delete unnecessary apps from your phone. Reducing visual and digital noise can significantly improve your ability to concentrate. Minimize distractions. In our age of constant notifications, distractions are the enemy of productivity. Practical tips: turn off non-essential notifications on your phone and computer. Use website blockers or focus apps during work sessions. Find a quiet place to work, or use noise-canceling headphones. Let family/housemates know when you need uninterrupted focus time. Every time you get distracted, it takes significant mental energy to get back on track. 4. Overcoming mental blocks, rewiring your brain for action. Our minds can be our greatest allies or our biggest saboteurs. Learn to direct your thoughts constructively. Challenge negative self-talk. When that inner voice says, "You can't do it," or "It's too hard," consciously counter it. Replace "I can't" with "How can I?" or "What's the first small step I can take?" Actionable: keep a journal of your negative self-talk and then write an empowering counterstatement for each. A. Embrace imperfection. Done is better than perfect. This is a mantra for overcoming perfectionism. The goal is to make progress, not to achieve flawless results on the first try. A rough draft is infinitely better than no draft. Actionable: give yourself permission to create a shitty first draft. Remind yourself that you can always refine and improve later. The important thing is to start. Accountability partners. Humans are wired for social accountability. Tell someone about your goal. Ideas: share your weekly goals with a friend, family member, or colleague. Join a mastermind group or an online community. Even just tracking your progress publicly, for example, on a habit tracking app or a shared spreadsheet, can provide that extra nudge. Knowing someone else is watching, even casually, can be incredibly motivating. Reward systems. Our brains love rewards. Condition yourself to associate completing tasks with positive reinforcement. Make it proportionate: a small reward for a small task, for example, after I finish this email batch, I'll take a 10-minute coffee break and listen to one song I love. A larger reward for a bigger milestone, for example, after I complete this project, I'll allow myself to watch that movie I've been wanting to see. Ensure the reward doesn't undermine the goal. For example, don't reward finishing a workout with a triple chocolate fudge brownie. That was a lot of information, but each one of those strategies, even if you pick just one or two to start with, can make a monumental difference. Remember, the goal here isn't to become a robot who never feels tired or unmotivated. It's about building systems and mental frameworks that empower you to act, even when you don't feel like it. In our next section, we're going to tie all of this together with the ultimate secret weapon against laziness, a fundamental mindset shift. Because truly leaving laziness behind isn't just about what you do, it's about how you think. 3. The mindset shift, from passive to proactive. We've unpacked the reasons behind laziness and armed ourselves with practical strategies to tackle it. But here's the truth: real, lasting change, the kind that truly allows you to leave laziness behind, isn't just about what you do, it's about how you think. It's about a fundamental mindset shift that transforms you from being a passive recipient of your impulses to a proactive architect of your life. This segment is about cultivating that inner strength and reframing how you view effort, discomfort, and progress. 1. Action over perfection, embracing the good enough. We touched on this in the last segment, but it bears repeating and amplifying. The enemy of done is often perfect. When you prioritize perfection, you create an insurmountable barrier to starting. The power of the imperfect start: recognize that every great achievement began with an imperfect first step. No one writes a perfect first draft, builds a perfect first prototype, or runs a perfect first mile. The goal isn't immediate flawlessness, it's progress. Done is better than perfect. Internalize this mantra. It's not about lowering your standards indefinitely, but about understanding that iteration and improvement can only happen after you've taken action. Don't let the fear of not being brilliant prevent you from being good enough to start. Actionable. For any task you're putting off, ask yourself, what's the bare minimum I can do right now to move this forward? And then, just do that. 2. Embrace discomfort, where growth truly happens. Our natural inclination is to seek comfort and avoid pain. Laziness often stems from a desire to escape the discomfort of effort, challenge, or uncertainty. But growth, learning, and achievement are almost always found outside your comfort zone. The discomfort zone is the growth zone. Reframe discomfort not as a warning sign to stop, but as an indicator that you're pushing boundaries and developing new capacities. Think of it like a muscle, it aches when it grows. Eat the frog. This classic productivity principle, popularized by Brian Tracy, suggests you should tackle your most dreaded or difficult task first thing in the morning. Get it out of the way. Not only does this prevent procrastination, but the sense of accomplishment gives you momentum for the rest of your day. The discomfort is brief, the reward is significant. Actionable. Identify one task you're dreading today. Commit to doing it first, or at least setting a timer for 15 to 20 minutes to work on it, before anything else. Notice how that feeling of dread dissipates once you begin. 3. Self-compassion, not self-pity, a balanced approach. This isn't about beating yourself up for past laziness. That only reinforces negative self-talk and can make you feel more stuck. It's about being kind to yourself while still being firm about your intentions. Acknowledge without dwelling. If you slip up, acknowledge it. Okay, I procrastinated on that today. But then immediately pivot to, what can I do differently tomorrow? Don't spiral into self-criticism. Focus on the next step, not the past misstep. Every moment is a new opportunity to choose differently. Your past actions do not define your future potential. Actionable. When you catch yourself being lazy, instead of thinking I'm so lazy, try I'm noticing a lack of motivation right now. What's one small thing I can do to shift this energy? 4. The compounding effect of small actions, building unstoppable momentum. We often underestimate the power of small, consistent efforts. Laziness thrives when we only focus on the enormous end goal and neglect the micro-actions that lead to it. Consistent effort trumps intensity. A small action taken daily is far more powerful than a massive effort taken once a month. Think of a dripping faucet. Eventually, it can fill a bucket, while a single gush might spill. Celebrate small wins. Acknowledge and celebrate every tiny step forward. This positive reinforcement trains your brain to associate effort with reward, making it easier to continue. The No 0 Days Rule. This is a fantastic principle. It means that no matter how tired, busy, or unmotivated you are, you do something toward your goal. Even if it's just one push-up, reading one page, or writing one sentence. The point is to maintain momentum and avoid breaking the chain of progress. A 0 day means you did absolutely nothing. A non-zero day means you did something. Actionable. Look at your main goal. What's the smallest possible action you could take today to move towards it? Commit to that one action, even if it feels insignificant. 5. The ripple effect. How overcoming laziness transforms everything. When you start to conquer laziness in one area of your life, you'll often find that the benefits ripple outwards. Increased self-efficacy. Every time you push through inertia and take action, you build confidence in your ability to get things done. This positive feedback loop strengthens your belief in yourself. more energy and motivation. Counterintuitively, taking action creates more energy. The more you do, the more you feel capable of doing. Enhanced well-being and fulfillments. Leaving laziness behind frees up mental space, reduces guilt, and allows you to experience the deep satisfaction that comes from living intentionally and making progress towards your dreams. So, there you have it, the mindset shift. It's about understanding that action fuels motivation, that discomfort is a sign of growth, and that consistent, imperfect effort leads to extraordinary results. You have the power to choose action over apathy, to be proactive rather than passive. And that brings us to the end of today's deep dive into leaving laziness behind. We've covered a lot of ground today, from unmasking the hidden reasons why we procrastinate, those fears, the overwhelm, the lack of clarity, to arming ourselves with practical, actionable strategies like breaking down tasks, using the 5-minute rule, and leveraging the power of habit stacking. Most importantly, we've talked about cultivating that crucial mindset shift, prioritizing action over perfection, embracing discomfort as a sign of growth, and understanding the incredible compounding effect of small, consistent steps. Remember, this isn't about becoming a productivity machine overnight. It's about recognizing that you have the power to choose. You can choose to understand the roots of your inertia, to equip yourself with tools, and to shift your perspective. Every single time you push through that initial resistance, you're not just completing a task, you're building a stronger, more capable, and more confident version of yourself. Your challenge and invitation. Now, for your challenge this week. Don't try to change everything at once. Instead, pick one area in your life where you feel laziness is holding you back, and choose one strategy we discussed today to tackle it. Maybe it's the 5-minute rule for that daunting email inbox. Perhaps it's defining the why behind a task you've been avoiding. Or maybe it's just committing to a no-zero day for a personal goal. Take that small step, and just observe what happens. Thank you so much for tuning in today. It's been a privilege to share these insights with you. If this episode resonated with you, please consider sharing it with a friend who might benefit. And remember, the journey to a more intentional, productive, and fulfilling life starts with that very first step. Until next time, keep taking action, keep growing, and keep leaving laziness in your past mirror.